Hello everyone and welcome back to the ESVTV coverage of the Gigabyte Star Wars 7 Western Qualifiers here. We're looking at game number 2 in this round of 8 best-of-3 match between WhiteRa, our red Protoss here in the 7 o'clock position against his opponent in the 1 o'clock position, dKiLLeR, our yellow Zerg representing Team Dignitas. He's up 1-0. He went for an extremely, basically as standard as you can play at ZVP last game. Just a 3-hatch no-gas build into a 6-minute double gas, into Roach Horn Evo Chamber, got Roach Speed, got +1, just barely held off the 2-base all-in from WhiteRa, and the game was pretty much over from there. WhiteRa did a great job trying to stay in, but it's really freaking hard after you throw away that many sentries in Immortals early game, and that much gas, and all those stalkers and stuff as well. It's almost impossible against a Zerg that doesn't make mistakes to actually come back, and that's why it's called an all-in. Obviously, if the Zerg just makes a whole bunch of gigantic mistakes, you might be able to get back into the game, but assuming they play properly, you're not going to be able to pull it off. WhiteRa going for standard scout timing after pylon. He's going to go Forge Expand on this map. Pretty small choke point, pretty standard to go Forge Expand here. On Cloud Kingdom. Pour myself some tea here in the early game. Things a little bit slow before I have to start casting at 400 words per minute. It looks like it was a 15 or 16 pool there coming out from dKiLLeR. Of course, dropping that next drone right around the same time, so either way, it doesn't really matter. Just a standard pool timing. Wants to be very economical with this build. Will he be able to get a hatchery up again? Keep in mind how close that engagement was. It's like WhiteRa almost broke through dKiLLeR. He almost did. So keep in mind that WhiteRa couldn't block the hatchery of dKiLLeR last game. Imagine if he had just something subtle like that. Like he had blocked the hatchery as long as we usually see it with a pylon, and dKiLLeR couldn't get it until he got lings out. And he only made 2 lings, so it could have been up for quite a long time. Just keep that in mind. That might have allowed WhiteRa to actually win that game if he weren't as far behind. And yet again, he lets the hatchery get up, doesn't drop a pylon block. dKiLLeR's got to be feeling really happy. Every Zerg usually does when they get the hatchery up without having to wait for Zerglings. That's what allows you to only make 2 lings instead of making 4 or 6 to kill off that pylon quicker. He's going to be able to drone even harder as usual, like he did last game. Now WhiteRa did go Nexus first, then Forge, so he's not like terribly far behind or anything since he did go Nexus first. That's fantastic. You just want to think about everything you could possibly do to get as far ahead as possible, of course, when you're playing this game. Because it's all the little things that add up. And he is setting up a cannon. Interesting positioning is what we used to see a long time ago, back before range changes, like roach range change and everything. Because then you could kill roaches without them being able to attack your cannon back when they attacked your gateway. But now this is a little bit odd. Being a little bit further back means roaches can't come forward and kill it off easily, but it also means that roaches can kind of sit back here and kill your gateway and forge without your cannon being able to attack. So he's really relying on the fact that dKiLLeR does like to go for these 3-hatch no gas plays, which is it's good that he is going for. But if dKiLLeR were up, 1-0 and decided to go for cheese and go for 2-base roach all in, that could be pretty scary for WhiteRa. His probe did scout the 3rd hatch, so he knows he's up against 3-hatch no gas play now. He did go double gas and then core. We'll see if he goes for another 2-base all-in or if he's going to try taking a quick 3rd. A lot of Protoss are having a great amount of success taking a quick 3rd on this map with sentries and immortals. Still hard to hold the 11-12 minute roach max, but it can be done with good control and good building placement. I like that redundant pylon on the upper ground in case some all-in comes and takes out some of these pylons to still have powering for his most important buildings here. You never know when the Zerg's actually going to cancel that 3rd hatch and do something crazy. He is going to get some scouting information with that Zealot, and he is starting +1 here with his Warp Gate. Pretty similar timing, so could see something like +1 4 gate, +1 4 gate with WhiteRa. No 3rd or 4th gas on the way just yet from WhiteRa here. There's our 6-minute double gas from dKiLLeR, and he's still droning up. He's going totally standard as usual here. Why not? I mean, this standard build, it's been so standardized that you can really just do it against anything that Protoss will throw at you. As long as they do Forge Expand to start things off, and you scout accordingly with your Overlords and react properly. Look at that, the Overlord sees quad gas. He sees the quad gas going down. That's so helpful. It really, limits what the Protoss could be doing with their builds. Really throws out the window something like +1 4 gate. That's not even going to be an issue. He might have been worrying about that before when he saw +1. I don't know if he saw what +1 upgrading. He probably saw with his Ling or something, but If he saw that, it might have been worrying him. Oh, +1 4 gate, I gotta get my roaches out quickly. And then once you see quad gas, you're like, oh no, never mind. I'm not worried at all. And look at that, even diligently double checking. Because he knows it's possible WhiteRa could have like canceled or something. The Stalker's gonna get surrounded. That really hurts. You don't want to let your Stalker get surrounded by slow Lings. Before they have speed, it's like, you really can't afford to get your Stalker surrounded by them ever. It just hurts so bad for your map control and how secure the Zerg feels. Probe gonna try to sneak out, but it will be spotted by the vision of dKiLLeR. You should notice that little red dot moving out in this mini-map, but might not have been paying attention to. It was maybe paying attention to this Overlord, watching to try to figure out what WhiteRa is going for. And in fact, it's going to be a 6 gate with Robo here so far from WhiteRa. So kind of like last game, but one gateway short. He is going still for 1-1. And he is going to add that 7th gateway. So the exact same build. WhiteRa was like, alright, my +1 7-gate Immortal bust didn't work last game. I'm going to try it again and execute better this game. As I have to assume what he would be thinking. Otherwise, why would you try the same build again that didn't already work? Kind of an exact repeat of last game. The Overlord Scouts, the hatchery getting up before the Lings come out. Except that this game, look at how many Lings dKiLLeR's making. This is going to really help him kind of shut down the first move out, perhaps. If WhiteRa gets a little bit too eager and moves out before he's really ready. He's going to wait at least for 2 Immortals, though. A couple more drones on the way. He's got +1. He's gone up to 4 gas. Everything looks totally standard. There's his macro hatch. He's does go for +1 attack rather than +1 carapace. That's what he feels comfortable with. He does have Zerging speed done now, so these Lings should be able to get a good surround on these sentries if they actually engage well. There's the Warp Prism. This is literally like an exact copy of last game, guys, on both sides. Alright, he sees this army moving out. He's going to go for the surround. He's going to go for the surround. The sentries dropping the force fields just a little bit late, and oh my god, the Zergings are dealing so much damage. Oh, that's game, guys. I'm sorry to say it, but you can't lose that many sentries and Immortals that early on when you're going for 2-base all-in. So dKiLLeR just shut down the entire 2-base all-in with a bunch of speedlings. Who says Zergings are bad units? Idra, you got to take some notes from this guy right here. I mean, how can you come back from that? You have no tech continuation, you don't have Colossus tech, you don't have a Twilight to be able to continue getting +2 and Blink. You don't have a 3rd base. You don't have the probe count to be able to get a 3rd base. You're just going to make Immortals from scratch and try to go for drop play. That's really all you can do. It's just brutal when that happens. It's a really fragile moment in the Protoss build, you know. They build up power over time as they warp in, as they move across the map. And if you get caught right as you're moving out, when you just have a couple sentries, oh my god, it is so difficult to deal with if you don't land perfect force fields. And unfortunately, his force fields just barely weren't in time. And once the Zergings already get this round, it's almost impossible to force them away with force fields properly. And now he's going to be forced back with these Zealots and Stalkers. He is warping in more units, which will kind of force maybe dKiLLeR back to wait for more reinforcements. No, he's just going to keep engaging. He knows how far ahead he is. Just going to try to snipe down some sentries. And he was going to be able to target fire down that Immortal. Great flank by dKiLLeR. Just kind of ensuring his victory here, so force fields can't even be effective. There's only 3 sentries, so he's going to lift those sentries up and save them. Great cost efficiency there by WhiteRa, but it's not enough. Look at the cost efficiency. It's already been too bad for him. dKiLLeR is on a full 3-base economy. Unfortunately, this is going to get worse and worse, guys. Like, this is one of those games that it all comes down to that first move out, and then the game ends up looking horribly one-sided, where WhiteRa is just going to get stomped here by a full maxed-out Zerg in a moment. On a full 3-base economy, 6 gas. Oh, he's just going to call GG. Okay, yeah, that would have gotten pretty ridiculous pretty quickly. Unfortunately for WhiteRa, he does lose 2-0 to dKiLLeR, and that's going to be the last match of the evening. I don't know. Well, that's not fair. I was about to say I don't know why he chose to go for the exact same build that already failed for him in the previous game, but maybe he thought it would work better on COD Kingdom. And it wasn't fair because it all came down to the Lings getting the surround on him anyways. That's the thing, guys. You know, PvZ, so many of these matchups, sometimes they end up, you know, coming down to big engagements, and it can look like one race is like OP or something like that, or they just get some really good positioning, but there's all these fragile moments that we don't often see because pro gamers usually just completely avoid them and are so good at circumventing these issues. But there's so many fragile moments that you sometimes don't realize are in a build until something like that happens. And it's like, oh, there is this one moment where you could get surrounded if the speedlings are actually in position, and you could lose your sentries if you don't land perfect force fields. And that's a hard spot to land perfect force fields in because you're out in the open, right in that position on Cloud Kingdom. You're in the most open area possible, where you would need probably like to perfectly force field around. You would need maybe like 7-8 force fields. So even if the Lings did get force fielded off, That would be a lot of force field energy lost during that. So great play by dKiLLeR, building up that many lanes that early on, forgoing a couple drones, but able to have a lot more map control as a result. And he's moving on to the next round with a 2 over WhiteRa. Definitely a very respectable outcome there. He's got to be pretty happy with. WhiteRa, of course, one of the most famous, pro gamers out there. So that's going to be it for tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching. That was our round of 8. I believe we're going to have one more day of casting this week, which is going to have the finals of all the qualifiers, the finals of Korean, Chinese, and Western qualifiers. Tentatively right now, I believe we're trying to do it on Friday, but we're not entirely sure. So follow us on Twitter. Go on Twitter, follow at ESVTV. We'll keep you up to date with the events that we're doing, including this one, Stars War, and when we're casting it. If you've liked my casting, I am Orb. I hope you've been enjoying my casting. I aim to please guys. If you have been enjoying it, please follow me on Twitter. It's right above me there on the overlay at ORBTL. And I'll keep you up to date with any events that I'm casting, any times I'm streaming my own games, any thoughts I have on the games, etc. If you didn't like my casting or there's anything specifically you think that I should change or improve upon, please do not hesitate to let me know and give me suggestions and constructive criticism in the tournament discussion thread on TeamLiquid.net. Can't emphasize enough how useful that constructive criticism is. Obviously, if you go in there and you're just like, troll Orb is a scrub, he needs to stop casting, I'm just going to know you're a troll and I'm just going to ignore you, right? So if you want to actually get your point across, try to put together a well thought out post that actually gives me some things to improve upon. I would just appreciate it to no end. So thanks to everybody that always does leave me feedback. I really do appreciate that. It's so useful. Other than that, I believe that's it, guys. We'll be back shortly. Later, not shortly, but later this week we'll have rebroadcasts running as well in case you missed any of the games. So I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed this Stars War StarCraft 2 action.